All right, what's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, July 13th. Technically, it is Friday. I missed yesterday, but it's okay because we are back, and there are a few peaks that are actually really good. A bunch of setups. We had a setup that played out over the last couple days. It was USD-CAD, and this was actually a daily signature trade that appeared. If you guys haven't watched my video on my page going over the free signature trade, going over the whole aspect of how I look at it, what I use as confluences, go take a look at it, because it explains how this whole thing actually was a perfect setup, and it just followed it to a T. It was ridiculous. I mean, if we just go look at the daily real quick, I won't dive too far into it because the video is there for you, but pull back right to the 61.8, almost a 78.6, right off the 50, straight down over the next 5 days and hit the take profit. So, and I didn't actually capture this initial move because I wasn't looking for it. I caught it over here. So after this one, I caught it like right here and just wrote it down for about 100 something pips. And it was perfect. It was a great play out. And what's cool is that if this happens on a higher time frame, you can obviously go down to the lower time frames and snipe an entry, wait for a pullback up on like the 15-minute, 1 hour, and take that shit down. So let's get started. Let's go over what we see for today. We have GBPJPY. This one's setting up real nice. Let's take a look. All right, so I actually have multiple things that we could be looking for right now. First, let me go to the daily. Not noticing anything. I got a couple fibs here, so don't like be intimidated by that yet. But let me move these out of the way just so you can see it. We have price breaking through that catch-up area. We have hidden divergence here. Is that hidden divergence? This is. Look at that. So we have hidden divergence on the daily with right there to right here. So this thing, if this is going to pull back, it needs to drop a little bit further. I know it has a peak formation low, but I feel like this could be an ultimate pullback, and I'll further explain, right? Let me show you. So we have the daily. This thing I think wants to drop down a little bit farther. It could have been here, or we could do this one. So it's either 38.2 or it lines up with the 50. And I guess we can go with the 50 because that makes the most sense overall. And it still follows the hidden divergence area, right? So that I have this aspect. I think it could keep dropping because I've had that for all the JPY pairs. Now, if we go to the 4 hour, we see that price shot up, but it didn't take out any major like structures, right? There's no change of characters, no break of structure. There was one over here, but it already did the pullback. If anything, this thing is setting up for a drop down, right? Because look at all this. And this is why I had the other one here. So what I'm starting to notice is that there's fractals of this. So we got the peak from up top, from this top point down, with hidden divergence right here. From this right here to here, it's already up, right? It's already higher. So in order for this to really start to make sense is the next thing the only thing we're missing for this to be what I would look for in a sell is the 50. It didn't hit the 50 yet. So I feel like short term, this peak formation low is valid, but I think it's only going to hit up here. And then we're going to see it drop back down to the low here because it just made a new one. It just broke all these lows. It needs to pull back and then drop. So my mind is set for GJ on a sell, but short term, it wants to go up, right? So let me go over here. And this is what's really funny. Well, there actually isn't. So if I'm sticking to my rules, there isn't any hidden divergence here yet. So it's hitting the 50 right now, but it's not doing anything that would make me be like, oh yeah, this is the totally what I'm looking for. There's no hidden divergence. So if anything, that only tells me that this shot up is temporary, and that once it hits up here, we're going to be looking for that bigger move down, right? So that's why I had the little one there for to see what the hour was, because this actually is hidden. There's no hidden divergence up, but guess what? There's hidden divergence down. So let me find out where I drew these ones real quick from that part. Let me delete this so I can see, and then this. So we're gonna go and draw this fib from this point down to there. It's already hitting that 78.6, but because this is not on the 1 hour, this isn't hitting the way I want it, so this actually isn't what I should be drawing. What I should be sticking to is this. I think it's going to shoot up a little bit more to hit here, and then we're going to see this shit tank. So short term, you are looking for buys on GJ until it decides to go up and hit that 61.8, hit that 800 EMA, the 200 EMA in the 1 hour, and the 50 EMA on the 4 hour. And that's what I'm going to say. Let's look for the continued sells. So keep that in your mind. I'm sticking to the 4 hour. The 4 hour actually has been very powerful. I made a mistake on it the other day with NZDCAD because I took the daily into account. And let me just kind of show you my error here. Just so you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not here. So go to NZDCAD. So I initially had a 4 hour setup on this. Let me delete this. All right. So I initially had a 4 hour setup on this. And all my analysis, I called this for a buy. And I was like, look, it's dropping. It's got hidden divergence from here down. Like it's crossing upwards. It got all these changes of characters, breakup structures. Like everything in my mind was telling me up. But then I decided to like, oh, let's go to the higher time frame. And what I ended up doing was psyching myself out because I noticed that it was hitting the daily water. And I was like, oh shit, what if there's a hidden divergence here? And lo and behold, there was. So I drew up the fib from here, from this point down. Hold on. This point down. And it was hitting that 50 and it was hitting the 50 EMA. So I was like, oh shit, maybe this is going to go back down. It could be consolidating. It didn't hit the 50 over on this side. So it's hitting it now. Maybe it wants to drop back down because the trend is going down. So I said, hey, that's when I told everybody, look for sells. But then it started going up. And then as it was going against me, I looked at the weekly and I was like, oh shit, this thing wants to continue up to that 50 EMA right there, which is the daily 200. So that I didn't even look at that, right? And this had a cleaner setup for a pullback. And I was like, damn, I was initially right, but it is what it is. So I'm still doing things for the higher time frames, but the 4 hour and the 1 hour have not let me down. And that's what I feel like we're going to be seeing with this. I think we're going to see it shoot up. It's going to be a short-term buy, and eventually it's going to hit up to the 61.8, and we're going to see this thing come right back down here by either tomorrow or going into next week. I don't think there's any news. Let me check. Okay, so this is today, July 13th. There was news this morning. There's nothing there. There's USD news at 10 a.m., but it doesn't seem like it's going to be crazy. Well, it's a red folder and an orange folder. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that's what I'm saying. My take on this is that we're going to see a push up to ultimately see this thing drop tonight. What happens if I delete this again? Oh, okay. Yeah, because if we want to see this daily matchup, right? Because remember, I drew up the daily here. And let's say this is actually going to maintain because it's starting to fractalize itself from here to here. I need to see this thing drop down at least to the 50 or at least to the water right here, that 50 EMA. So that only goes in line with what I'm saying here. And now we want to just wait for it to hit up to that point and drop. So from this point down, 61.8, drop down to the recent low, if not further, probably down to this zone. And we're going to have a fun ride. So we're looking for sells on GJ. Short-term buys, but I feel like it's going to be overall sell. Where's this at? We'll put GJ as a sell. AUDJPY. It's the same thing for EURJPY too. A lot of noise. Okay. I had this thing drawn up from before. Let's go to the 4-hour. And it's got a peak formation low, which makes sense. How far is it down? So it hit that daily support, right? So this is a daily support line. And it went right back up, which tells me if this is a strong enough support, this could actually continue in that direction. This peak formation low could be perfect. So there's times where it doesn't always go off the 50 and then drop. I feel like what we could be seeing here is a continuation up, and it's going to bypass this because you have to look at overall direction of what it's doing on a higher time frame. And this higher time frame, it's been respecting this low for a minute now. So, and there's some divergence here. You see the Bollinger Bands. It's not the actual best one, so this thing can do whatever it wants. Let me check the weekly. The weekly is just throwing wicks right now. It could end the week like this and then continue up. So we might see some consolidation to end out the week on this. It might not be a big move. Maybe enough to get a an intraday trade in, but that's about it. All right, so we go back to the 4-hour. It's stuck in between the 1-hour water and the 1-hour Mayo right here. And when price does that, we see it tend to respect the other side. But here's the problem. It's hitting the 50 EMA and the 50 zone, but there was no hidden divergence yet, right? And that's kind of like the same thing I saw with GJ, where this might, if this is going to be hidden divergence, it's either it hasn't happened yet and it's still got to drop one more time for it to officially be hidden divergence, which will pass this point. If that's the case, then I actually have to draw this up differently, right? So if I do this and I go from here, I'm sorry, I can go from here to here, and that 50 points down here, or down to here, but this doesn't seem right? It doesn't really fit. It doesn't match what I'm looking for because it doesn't line up. I usually have it line up with certain points and it just doesn't fit that criteria. So I'm thinking that this is something similar to what we're going to see on GBPJPY, and that this thing can drop again for a retest because it doesn't just hit it and then go right back up. Notice how it like wicked off of it here, but then it came back down, then it dropped down, pulled back, and came right back down to it, right? So it hit a couple times, but I feel like there's going to be that separation of a hit. Instead of just going like this, it's going to go up, down, right? And that's exactly what it did over here and over there. So here, right? W, more like a triple W, right? There was multiple comebacks to that area, which is why I'm thinking that this could be the same thing. What's to stop it, right? It happened 3 times already. So I'm thinking we maintain this. This trend line was broken. Here's the 4-hour setup from this point down. It's hitting the 50 EMA right now, hit the 61.8 zone. It is inside, it's in the middle of these two. Most people would try to think that it maybe wants to go down again and continue. We're gonna be paying attention. I don't want to get too excited and just be like, oh yeah, that's a drop, because I mean, even this was broken. Hidden divert. Well, this actually broke to the upside, but it is retesting a zone. It's retesting a 4-hour, more so like it's just higher strength. Like there's more resistance up in this zone, and it may want to shoot back down. So I'm just be careful with this. I don't want to be too excited about it. I want to see how this plays out to be safe. But ultimately, if we're looking at the steps, it did do a break of structure, which is great, which is the key to what we look for. So it would be a hit down and then a buy. And there was levels. It's got 1, 2, 3 reversal. End of the week. Could probably shoot up maybe one more time, then reverse. We'll see. So I'm gonna say hold off on this. I'm gonna come back on this. I'm gonna update as we go. For anybody that's actually paying attention during the recordings. I just don't want to get too strung up on this. Probably come down one more time. That's my guess, and then a shot up. All right. Let's see. AUDJPY. Now this one is interesting. I was kind of doing a little bit of a back test before we hopped on to see what we were looking at, because on the daily, clear hidden divergence, bouncing off the 50, it wants to go up, right? That's normally what I would say. And all the criteria is there. We have support that it hit off of. We have a peak formation low. If I go to the 4 hour, there's probably some more confluence there. It's bouncing off the 4 hour right now. Maybe come back down for a retest and then a shot up, or a consolidation on the 50 that it's on right now, and then a push up. If I go to the 1 hour, I mean, clearly there's already a 4 hour. Oh, got it. I'm testing something with these EMAs. So we already have hidden divergence. If we actually look on the 4 hours, hidden divergence right now. But the problem is this one's already happened. If I draw this up, going down, it's already extended to 78.6. So I don't think that's valid anymore. Delete this. This one I drew based on the 1 hour. And that's just to see if it's going to continue up. So right now it's about to push down. If I want to see this for a buy, I need to see this thing drop a little bit more and then bounce off at this zone right here, the 4 hour zone, and the blueberry and the water, and then make its move up. So if I'm going to take that for a buy, that's what I'll be looking for, because then the hidden divergence will be there. It'll match the 50, both 50s, the zone, all of it. So I'm going to say AJ is for a buy. And that's kind of what makes me think about GJ a little bit, because I think GJ is going to do the exact same thing. And if you've seen how it bounces out the 50, it doesn't just go right to it and then drop. I think it might push past it a little bit. So on an intraday level, I'm thinking we're going to see it drop. You even look at this, I have a trend line drawn up. It's not like the most clear one, but it is solid in a sense of retesting in previous history. So like it's obviously maintained itself throughout time. So it's just the zone in general that when it hits it, we get a retest. So I think it might drop, push back a little bit, and then we'll see a rise. And that's the same thing for AJ. So I'm thinking I'm looking for AJ to be a buy. That's my analysis on that. AJ is going to be a buy. Now we're going to go AUDNZD. Not really liking the way this looks right now. I might avoid this one. Yeah. This one's not really going to do anything, guys. We're going to avoid this one. It's too choppy. NZDCAD. I think I have this based on the 4 hour or just on the daily. Oh yeah, I was showing you guys before. So I don't think this is valid anymore. I mean, it's technically, it's hitting the 500 SMA right now, but it also has this trend line that's been like accurate as fuck with it over the last, what, since when? December, so last 7 months. And that's probably where it's going to head to right now. It's probably going to head up there another day just to hit it, or it's already got done, whatever it is. But if this is going to be continued by, this has to pull back. I need to see it bounce on these EMAs that they're all down there, right? It needs to retest that zone. Let me see if there's any hidden divergence here so far. So we have this point that it's already divergent on. So if it does decide to use this point as the pullback zone, then it's going to pull back to the 50, 61.8 area. And that we would be looking for because this says it's a peak formation low, which I can get behind. But if that's the case, then this needs to pull back. So I'm going to wait for it to pull back. I'm going to see what it does, and then we could be a little bit bullish on it. I'm trying to see if there's a higher time frame one maybe. So let's see. There's nothing set up for it yet. The only one that makes sense at the moment is the 1 hour. So let's wait for a pullback on this. Drop, pull back, retest to the high, be done for the week. Or it could just do this shit, which is possible. It's Friday, hit down and then consolidate here. So let's just see what happens. Looking for that shot down, and ultimately I want to see it finish its bull move back to the trend line here, and then we'll be done. So NZDCAD, I'll put up there, NCAD for a buy. NZDCHF. Oh, okay. Let me zoom out. They're all doing the same thing, where they all bounced off a higher time frame, right? This kind of looks exactly the same thing as AUDJPY. AUDJPY looks exactly the same, and I'll show you so we can all see it. So you got 3 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hits. And if we go to here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It actually looks exactly the same. So it's a matter of, does this want to continue up, or does it want to continue down? And right now, it's in between the daily and the 4 hour. And everything that I see, I don't really see. I mean, I see the hidden divergence. I have it from this point, which is hitting at 60, but I could also draw from this point. But the problem is it already would have hit its match, right? So and we would expect a complete drop or a continuation. So the fact that I don't like the way that's set up, I have this set up here. And if it was going to reverse, this would be the prime area to do it. So I guess we're going to find out. And it's hitting all this resistance on the 1 hour too. So everything's there. It's just a matter of, is it going to actually move? So let's take a look at the 1 hour. Multiple hits to that 200 EMA. Don't see any crazy divergence. So what this could be leading to is a continuation, and this is not a valid selling point. And then we push it up to the 4 hour Mayo, which would be close to the daily water, right? So it'd probably shoot up to that zone. I mean, just look at it, how it's been maintaining the water throughout history. We'll delete these. This doesn't need anymore. So it's been maintaining the integrity of the support resistance on the daily, maintain the integrity of the water, and it's been just kind of consolidating up. So if anything, we could be seeing this thing go from here down, right? So it might want to shoot up one more time, which is totally valid. Let me go to the weekly and see what it looks like. So the weekly is completely a downtrend. What would you know? Look at that. Double hit to the 50 EMA based off of this divergence. That was to the 50 probably, and then it tanked. So yeah, it's definitely going to be continuing drop. This isn't a reversal pattern at all. This is a continuation on the weekly. So ultimately, any move up, in my opinion, it's just a pullback. So is it going to continue down tonight, or is it going to continue up? At the moment, I have no idea. I don't want to get too premature at this because I've seen this happen on NZDCAD and it continue up. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. I'm more so in learning mode right now. I'm not too like jumpy to jump into the market. I'm just trying to see exactly how does this want to play out based off of the criteria that we're seeing right here. 1 hour. We'll see. I'm not going to put anything on top of this. I need to I'm just gonna wait and see how this plays out as for you guys too. Or if you guys have any other confluences for yourself, clearly you can use them. We had a big, let me see if I had to change a character. Change a character there, retested low, came back, but it could easily just do that all over again. And it did do it here. Change a character, pullback, continuation. Makes sense. And there's no smaller time frame changing. Well, there is this trend line, but it already broke through it. Maintained its integrity until it broke through. So my gut wants to say continuation because the daily has not been, this zone has been solid throughout time. So I'm gonna say if we're gonna take this for anything, let's just take it for a buy. We're gonna wait for it to drop down again one more time to continue the divergence, because if this does drop and it goes down to the 50, it'll be lower. And then we will see our entry. So I'm gonna say NZDCHF is bullish for tonight. And chief. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one. NZDJPY. Hello. We just got a notification on those pairs. What was it for? 4-hour hit? Okay. So it broke through, came up, got some hidden divergence here. I already grabbed these pairs already. Don't need that. Don't need this. Let's see. What does it want to do? Shark fin, hit to the 50. Let me go to the daily. Probably might make a little bit more sense. There was hidden divergence on the daily. Hard to see with all these lines. That's my fault. From here. Nope. Nope. This isn't. I wouldn't say that's valid anymore. It's just in a tight spot right now. It broke this trend line here. We had a trend line here. Okay. So if anything, it's going to come back down to retest. Let me have any support or resistance zones. We have a daily resistance or support, 4-hour support. Go to 1. We already got some hidden divergence here, which is great. And it's showing a shark fin, meaning we would want to farther push down. So if this is going to be what we want, did I draw any fibs yet? Nope. So we are going to draw from here up here. Okay. Lines up with the 50 Fibonacci retracement. Hidden divergence already started. So I'm going to say we're going to be bullish on this. Had a big break of structure here. It says change of character. That's short term though. 4 hours, but it's at. Doesn't show it. It says there's a big change of character here, but I still think this thing's going to go up. So look for a pullback. Wait for the drop, just like AUDJPY, and we're going to be looking for the buy. So I'll say NJ. And it's retesting that the 500 moving average too. So this is interesting, actually. It's going to hit that 500 moving average. It maintains its integrity throughout time. Always retests it. Like just like this, breakthrough, come back, retest, wicks off of it. So very curious to see how this plays out. It would just be a little off compared to what I'm used to, because I'm used to seeing the hidden divergence play out. Let's say from here and then we'll go down. We'll go down to here, actually. Whoa. What the heck? Why does it keep doing that? Yeah, it's already like hit the 78.6, which is way oversold or overbought, but it is hitting that 500. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. I'm gonna hold off. I said it was bullish, but there's a couple things that I have that can tell me it can go down. I have a couple things that would tell me it wants to go up. These are the parts I'm working out. So let's hold off on NJ for now. Let's go to EURNZD. Formation high. 1, 2. Drop down to the low. Is there daily? Yep, there's daily support. Daily support. Okay. Break. Wasn't really caring about this one for a sec, actually. Retested that trend line that it had integrity on for a while, which tells me this wants to go back up, especially after this big drop over the last 2 days. Let me see how big the candles are in here. I mean, the bounce off that support is solid. I go to the 4-hour. Let's see what it looks like again. Is there any 4-hour support? There was right there, that little blue line. Right on the green too. So I got 1, 2, 3 support levels here. And the more there are, the better it is. So I think we're going to see a buy on Euro NZD, guys. I don't think this is going to be a sell at all. I think we're going to see a shot up. And at least to this area, which is where the 50 EMA is, which also sets ourselves up for a potential drop again if we go down to the high and to the low. Look at that. Push up to that 50 zone. So I'm going to say we're bullish on Euro NZD because of it wanting to set up for this time frame, because it needs to pull back to that 50 every single time, right? So it's not just going to sit here and just continue. I mean, it could drop down one more time, but ultimately it does want to go up there. And with the hidden divergence we already have and the way the RSI is moving, this thing's it's gonna make that move tonight. It's gonna make it move like soon, because this is an NZD pair and this shit happens on during Asian session all the time, and it's the middle of it as we speak. So now let's go to EURJPY. If all the JPYs have been good, then we should be seeing buys in this thing happening. Let's take a look. So I have this hidden divergence here, but guess what? It's on the 50 and there's no hit to the 61.8 yet, which is telling me we're going to see a continuation on this. We're going to see it continue to go up just off of that alone. So I have EJ. I said I had EJ for a sell, but I think it's going to be overall a push up to end the night, and then it's going to hit up to there and then finish for the day. So I'm going to put EJ in as a buy potential, just because it makes sense. Hold on. Do EJ over here. There's a lot of buys I have written down over here. Okay. Hitting off the 50 as we, or the 1 EMA here. Let me see if there's any hidden divergence that we could utilize. Well, there's some right here, but it's already at that point. So it's either here or here. And then we have now this is where it's going to be. and we're going to see it push up. Now, it wants to go based off of this low. It still makes sense. Doesn't matter where it's at. These are two zones that it's pretty powerful. And so I'm going to say we're bullish on EURJPY tonight as well until it goes up to the new high, and it'll maintain it because it's also peak formation low. So go with the peak. EJ is for a bullish move. Now let's continue. CHFJPY. It's all the JPYs. It's all doing the same shit. CHFJPY. Okay. Hidden divergence, clear as day. Actually, hold on. That's fine. Okay. Coming down to the 50 right now. All the EMAs are on top of it too. So it like broke back up to the 500 above it. And it's going to be retesting the 50 and the 200 at the same time, at least from the hour perspective. Let me see. This thing shot up a little bit farther than it did on the other side. It's got hidden divergence for here, but I mean this thing's already way past it, which tells me that if this is going to be a drop, it's not going to be big, or it could potentially tank right here and continue down in an ugly way that I just don't really care for to trade, or it's going to maintain a specific area. Let me see. So this part is got hidden divergence too. Right? So if this is going to drop, it's got to drop down to at least this area. And I'm pretty sure that's a support zone. If I go to the 4 hour, let me see the bigger time frame right here. It's not even drawing it up. It's all good. So ultimately, this could follow suit with the rest of them. I'm just more curious of how it is going to play out. I mean, you got all these changes of character to the top side too. Like it broke up here. Hopefully the 4 hour shows a little bit better. Right here. Yeah, there it is. So you got a change of character, push to the upside, pull back down into this zone, and then we'll see it push back up as a buy, to at least to retest this high, right? If we go from there down, let me fix this. Say we go down to there, it's 86 pips. So I'm gonna say we're still bullish. CHFJPY, and plus this pair has been going up for a minute, so it could keep going. Chief J. Makes sense to me. Let's go to GBPAUD. I think I had this one for a sell. Let me look. Yep. Let's see how this plays out. Ooh, there's daily support here. This thing looks like it wants to continue, but before it does that, it needs to pull up. It's already got hidden divergence. Let's go and move these out of the way so we're not crowded. Let's go to here. Down. It's hitting the 50, but it seems like it could go a little bit higher. And this one would be crazy hidden divergence. So if it doesn't respect this one, which I don't really like it being at the 78.6, but that's just my opinion. But if it, let's say it goes up to here. Now this just doesn't make sense at all. Because there's no 50 up there at all. It's too far. I mean, it matches somewhat near the 38 too. So I'm going to stick to this one. And then it could just push up a little bit, but ultimately this is going to drop. I do see this for a drop. changed characters over here. Big one on the 4 hour, if you go to the 4. Right here. See if it draws it. Oh, change a character up there, but and it broke down beneath this trend line too. So you got 1, 2, 3 broke through. It hasn't even pulled back yet. So that leads me to know that this pullback might be a little bit higher up than we thought. Let's say it does want to pull back based on the 4 hour, and that's going to be up here. And then this would make sense. A little bit more. It would push up to about here to retest that zone and then drop, and that's GBP. It doesn't always go right to the 50. It could go up a little bit higher, then tank. Ultimately, leading me to believe that this thing wants to pull up for a pullback. So if anything, I mean, this is just be careful of what you're looking at, because it's either going to push up a little bit higher back towards that trend line and the resistance on the daily, or it's going to shoot up to this zone, bounce off the 50, and just drop down again. Because if that's the case, it is going to line up with the 1 hour and 4 hour area. All right, so you have this 4 hour resistance and 1 hour resistance zone. You got 1, 2, and then the big yellow one hits up there. There is an imbalance. I actually haven't even been looking at those. Those imbalances right here. There's one on the 4 hour. There's one a little bit higher up, but it doesn't matter. So I'm curious. I want to say this thing's going to be an overall sell, but it needs to pull back first. All right. It needs to pull up, and then we can see it hit that the water, which hopefully by the time it actually does shoot up, it is a little bit higher. This is a little bit lower. So we're going to find out. We're going to fuck around and find out, guys. Or is it going to push up to there? See the 4 hour again. I like this 4 hour imbalance though, because then it would complete it. I mean, it could drop tonight. It is possible for a continuation. You see this. Just didn't hit a zone I like. But I have to check out the GBP pairs. We'll see. Back testing this weekend is going to be good. But ultimately, I want to see a shot up. All right. So short term, look for a push up and then a sell. That just makes the most sense to me at the moment with all the other stuff going on. It broke this, retest, drop. And the retest on that 50 makes the most sense. So we'll see. GA, I'm going to say overall sell, but false move up, drop. And then I'll do Euro AUD. And then we'll be done for the day. EURJPY, Euro AUD. Formation high, huh? Oh, it's in that 500. That 500 moving average strikes again, but it could break it. Bounced off that 4 hour support and the daily support. This kind of looks like the same thing as GBPAUD, where it wants to shoot up and hit that at Fibonacci zone, the hidden divergence. So if we go down, and that makes more sense up there, and it retests the zone. I think that's a good area right here. It's a good area. So I'm going to say same thing for this EA. What was the daily looking like though? Daily's hitting the water. But that's not the setup I like. It could just get ready for some consolidation too. with this, because you see how the EMAs are tight. This just could lead to up and down, buy low, sell high, which would lead to a solid pivot point back up, which wouldn't even need to be pretty. This thing could just completely go right back to where it started, because this would be Friday. So Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Sunday, Monday. And if this push up goes back to the beginning here, then this would make sense. So it's in an interesting position, because with the EMAs tight, I think this thing could actually continue up. And with the same thing happening on GA, I think we could see that same thing here. So Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, push up tonight, and then ultimately maybe something for the end of the week. So I would say EA, GA could be both buys if you're on a short term, clear intraday. Don't hold this pair. Don't sit here and try to like bank your money on it and be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a rise. Be careful, because I'm need to see what it needs to do. If it's going to shoot up a little bit higher before it decides to drop. Ultimately, that's where my mind is at. If I want to see anything, I want to see it shoot up for it first. Other than that, I'm not touching it. So I'd say EA, GA are both short-term buys, and then ultimately we'll be looking for sells going into next week. So I'll say GA, short-term buy. And I'm going to stress that when I put buys and sells, or like when I'm saying bullish or bearish on my analysis, guys, that's for the day, right? So sometimes I'll say something where I'm like, oh yeah, it's bullish for the day, but ultimately it's for a sell. So you have to know. That's why I'm very adamant of people hopping onto these analyses, so I can like explain that further. So because somebody could be viewing what I post in the Discord and says, oh, look, it says bullish, so that they just buy it without realizing that, well, it's bullish for now, but it ultimately is going to be a drop, which you can wait for it to drop or you can wait for it to rise. So, I mean, look at this right now. It's bounced right off the 50 Fibonacci and drop, but it's not where we want it to be, right? Didn't hit the 50 EMA. That's the most important part. So there actually is one more pair I wanted to go over real quick, because it's CAD JPY, and I want to, because on the daily there is this. Look at this. Hidden divergence, clear as day, off the 50, potential rise back up, which is what AJ is showing. All those pairs are all showing this exact same thing. And I'm just trying to see whether or not if it's going to continue to just drop, or is it going to pull back first and then drop? Ultimately, it's been dropping for a minute, so I want to see it push up. I want to see this push up to at least here. I'm not sure if it's going to go all the way back up. I don't think that's going to happen. I want to see it push up to about this zone. Let me see if there's a daily. I mean, it's bouncing off a daily support right now, which would be confirmation for that push up. And then the 1 hour. I mean, look at this right here. I think I drew this up earlier, to be honest. What time is this? This is 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, I was marking this up at 2 o'clock, 1 to 2 o'clock. So it was around here when price came up and hit that zone. And look at that shit. It played out perfectly. I could have sold it right here, and it's dropping. And that's probably what's going on with all the other pairs at the moment. CAD JPY. The only thing is it didn't hit the EMAs, right? They're all off, which is why I like to be patient with them and see exactly how they end up playing out, because this could drop here and then continue. But ultimately, this is playing out like a signature trade. You got hidden divergence. You got the 50. Let me see if there's an inbound. Look at that fucking inbounds. I keep forgetting about these. Is there an inbounds on EURAUD? Yep. Inbounds is the high, which is exactly where we're looking. So this only makes sense. Bounce right off the God damn it, the FEG, the inbounds, and it tanked. It's dropping hard. So if you entered off the 61.8 zone, could be getting 63 pips right now. So, all right, that is what we're looking at for tonight. If you guys don't want to trade, that's completely fine. You guys have until Sunday, obviously. And everybody enjoy the weekend. And as we continue to progress this signature trade, get more results, and people start getting better with it,
I think we're gonna have some fun, and it's gonna develop into something that could maybe one day be automated. I would love to get this thing automated so that it only catches these setups. So with that being said, I will talk to you guys next week. Peace out.